We have witnessed the best college football playoff game of the year, Texas and Arizona State. Avery, Arizona State, they proved everyone wrong. They held up their end. Magnificent comeback. It was a heartbreaker to lose in double overtime. But the main subject is the no targeting call.
That
And
that that was a big deal. That was a big deal. And the main thing a lot of people have an issue with, and it even crosses over into the NFL, you have other eyes looking at this game. So why not use those other set of eyes to take a look at something that may not be called on the field? And if so, utilize it. There are systems in place that can help alleviate these non-calls. But you have to look at it at both sides. Do you want it to always be something that is utilized, or do you want it to mean it? And the whole thing with targeting is, was it was it the intent to hurt, the intent to injure? And that's something that I think college football officials, as well as in the NFL, they need to take a look at that, because while football is a collision sport, we love watching these young men play their hearts out, give it their all, but we know there are the potential for injuries. And sometimes you need to say, hey, that looks like it was intentful, that looks like it was an intent to harm, and it needs to be addressed. It really does need to be addressed, because now we're in this era of college football where it's exciting to watch. Of one of the semifinal, one of the quarterfinal games, we have a double overtime. And we started off our video with an applause. If everyone has their teams in college football, whether it be you're an alumnus, whether where you grew up, especially me in Florida, give a round of applause to the Arizona State Sun Devils, not only for the great game, but this season. Remember, we mentioned it multiple times. They are projected to finish last. They're big. They were the Big 12 champion. They got the first round bye. Texas is very lucky that they won that game. And I mean extremely lucky. We've seen it. You see heart in a lot of college football teams. A lot of grit, a lot of let's take it one step at a time. Let's control the game at our tempo. And Arizona State did that. They made sure they had 510 total yards versus Texas 375. They held on to the ball for over 32 minutes. Yes, I think Arizona State should have won this game, but Texas at the moment was they took the chances they needed to do it. And we said it, when you have great coaches, when you have great teammates, we've said it with a number of teams. That press conference with Arizona State, sir, my friend, if we are not following this team next season, I don't know what to tell you. Because Sam Levet, freshman, a freshman, nearly took down the giants that are the Texas Longhorns. We need to follow this young man. He is a freshman. They are going to build around this young man for at least a couple of years. They have something special, and we've said it multiple times. You see college teams when they have something special, and you hope to witness it. You've seen it with Colorado for the past couple years. I know people are kind of sick of us mentioning, the Buffaloes, but we've seen it. Coach comes in, makes some changes, and you get the fan base hyped. In this case, it's multiple things: coaching, players, fan base, the area in which they are playing, and it's working. And look what you have. You had a team where, and granted, we admitted it, we were gonna have some blowouts during this new 12 team system. We were gonna have some blowouts. A lot of people were picking this one. They had Arizona State as a 2 touchdown underdog, and they only lost by a touchdown. They only lost by they lost by 8. But still, it was double overtime. It was exciting. They did not quit. And that's the one thing we always want to say about college football. Don't quit. Don't quit. You don't quit, you have a chance. And we saw that on New Year's Day, a New Year's Day game for new beginnings, to turn over new leaves, to start new systems, to start new goal. And if there's ever a don't quit mentality, we saw that yesterday afternoon.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Arizona State, they were down by 16 in the fourth quarter. Two words, Cam Scatterable. He had one of the greatest quarters that I have ever seen. The man was absolutely fearless, toughness. He took over the entire fourth quarter. He did everything he could to put that team on his back. That's why I feel bad for him because he did everything that he could. However, even though that no targeting call was controversial, you know, but I look at Quinn Ewers, his experience in that fourth down 14 in the first overtime. Arguably the biggest play of his career so far. To score that clutch touchdown, you're one play away from being eliminated, being done, and he stepped up. Arizona State's defense, they fumble in overtime and the overtime, but especially that play was a momentum crusher, in my opinion. But Texas were lucky. And I say this in a respectful manner because they had so many penalties going up their way in the fourth quarter. Momentum shift that we saw it. And it's just, and I feel like that no targeting call was the beginning of the wind slowly sucking out of the air for Arizona State. But I'm so grateful that I was able to watch this game when it was happening. And this is why we love college football.
Yeah. I think we're going to be talking about this game right up until the beginning of next season. Unless we see,
I'll say
something
years.
special. Yeah, and something unless we see something special tonight or in the semifinal games or the championship game, this was the game. The Peach Bowl down in Atlanta, hot Atlanta as you call it. And that was a hot game. That was a hot game. And like I said, everybody kind of had their opinions, who deserved the bye, who was gonna play who, I don't think it's gonna be if if there's one takeaway, and we've said it, never underestimate teams. Now, granted, sometimes, you'll have your teams like, the SMU Penn State game. SMU kind of tried to figure it out and it just got away from them. Boise State and um help me. Boise State and Penn State. Um, Boise State was hanging in there, and then Penn State just kind of ran away with it. So I already love this playoff. I know everybody's not happy with who got in, but I love what I see. You are getting these matchups that, while on paper may not look exciting, But then when you let these young men do what they love, when they put the team on your back, just like you said, Cam Scatterbo. I love when players just have like this really great football name or a really great baseball name or a hockey name. I'm like, that's a football name right there, Cam Scatterbo. And just like you said, he said, "Come on, guys, let's go." And that was it. And it's weird. We're talking more about the team that lost than the team that won. I mentioned this to a friend of mine. Texas was playing like how they played with Georgia. It was almost like they were toying with them. Gentlemen, you are playing for a national championship. Play the game. Play the game. Use your tools. Use the knowledge that you have from, film study, game study. Don't tell me that Texas did not study the Sun Devils. And if they did, I don't think they took them seriously and look nearly what happened. It's amazing that we're kind of giving more credit to the losing team than the winning team. But that's the interesting thing about college football. And if I may just segue a little bit, I know we have the Sugar Bowl this afternoon. I think that a lot of us, we have New Orleans in our heart. Granted, for many years, I've been to New Orleans as a child. I love the city. When my parents took me, um, we should not only have that city in our heart, but what the players are going to try to do this afternoon, knowing that is also on their mind. And I've said this repeatedly, sports has a way of bringing us together. And I think this afternoon with Georgia and Notre Dame, if we saw something special yesterday with Texas and Arizona State, I think we are going to see something special this afternoon, if just for the sake of that game, the Sugar Bowl bringing us together. I know the world is a difficult place sometimes, but sometimes we need to look to each other. We need to take our minds off something, and I love that sports can do that. It may seem inconsiderate to some, but sometimes in order to find that little bit of joy, to not fall into the darkness, if you will. There's something amazing about sports that does that. And overall, this has been a good thing. This has been a good thing going into a new year and watching these games, watching these teams, watching these young men, and not just the college football bowl games, both season in general. Both season in general, we have been like wowed. We have been wowed. And we have our opinions when it comes to transfer portal, declaring for draft. But aside from those things, you said it. Sometimes it's just really good to know that you are here witnessing what we are seeing right now. And I think it's a joy, it's a blessing, and we should just enjoy it. We should just enjoy it.
My heart goes out to the victims' families in New Orleans. Horrible, horrible, horrible way to enter the new year. I've been through situations where I've lost family members throughout the holidays. So, but when you lose someone in this fashion, it's a different kind of pain. So I really hope that Notre Dame Georgia game, in honor of what happened, I hope that both teams give it all in this game. Hopefully, we get something similar or better than what we saw from Texas and Arizona State. The only silver lining for me about this game being postponed is that it's a much more earlier time because the original time was about 8 o'clock, somewhere around
Yes.
there. And usually I go to bed more earlier, so I can't see the whole thing. But the fact that it's 4 o'clock, that's the only silver lining. But regardless, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that this tragedy that happened in New Orleans. And New Orleans, I haven't been there yet. Excuse me, I haven't been there yet, but it's on my list of places to travel. And I've heard nothing but great things about the city of New Orleans. So, but my heart goes out to New Orleans and those families. It's just, no one, it's just unfortunate. But Notre Dame, Georgia, hopefully they give us a good game. And I like the matchup. And, but you nailed it. Sports as a way to bring us, all of us together, no matter what kind of mood we're in. But especially when it's tough times like what we just witnessed with New Orleans and now Las Vegas, but more New Orleans because that's the bigger storyline that's been dominating the last day or two, or I should say.
Yeah, this as I said, sports has that way of bringing us together, and I think the Bulldogs and the Fighting Irish, Coach Freeman even alluded to this when they asked him how they were still going to prepare for it. And Coach Freeman has given an insight not only for his team, but I think for us as well when it comes to where you want your mind to be. How do you want others to see you and any landscape, whether it be football or professional sports in general, or things that we do, whether it be content creating, or other full-time, activities. This is an amazing time we live in, whether it be sports related, education wise, experiencing new things. You're saying, New Orleans is on the list. I too have a list, of places to see, places to experience, get out of our comfort zone, and that works. And like I said before, college football this year has done an amazing job of not just showcasing teams, giving us the opportunity to see a no quit attitude, if you will. A lot of people say, don't quit, you got to push through. What better way to see it than on a college football field? What better way to see it than in college playoffs, during bowl season, to witness how adversity can be turned into something positive.